Are you in the medical field or a nurse and you're thinking about making that move out here to Hawaii and working at one of our great hospitals out here on the island of Oahu? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to talk about living in Hawaii as a nurse. We're going to talk about where these hospitals are, some of these jobs, positions, shifts that you could be working, and more right now. What's going on? Welcome to the Living in Hawaii channel. If you are new here, this channel is all about what it's like to live in Hawaii, what it's like to eat, sleep, play, breathe, the up, down, left, and right, everything that you need to know in case you're thinking about accepting a job in the medical field out here and moving to the islands of Oahu or Hawaii in general. If you're not new here, welcome on back. Make sure you all hit that like button. It helps anybody else be able to find this information. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so that you get notified anytime that I upload a new video on this channel. And look, we get so many people reaching out all the time about their move to Hawaii, and we absolutely love it. You can do the same thing too. You can send us a text, you can give me a call, you can send me an email, you can slide in my DMs. You can even schedule your appointment with us using the link down in the description below. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Hawaii. You've already started looking for that position that you may fit right as far as being a nurse or working in the medical field out here in Hawaii. Then you're probably looking at where are these hospitals, how many hospitals are there, how many opportunities do I have to possibly fill a position and go live in paradise, right? Now, when we're talking about how many hospitals there are, it depends on, first of all, what you decide is a hospital, right? That term somehow became very broad. But there are over 15 hospitals on the island of Oahu, or medical care centers, depending on how it is that you define each one. But there are over 15, and you're going to notice a lot of those are more so in the Honolulu area, more of the downtown area than anywhere else. Not saying there aren't hospitals everywhere else, because there are, right? But you're going to notice that a lot more of them are condensed down there, and then you've got your other ones kind of scattered throughout the island. As you can see on this map, and some of these hospitals that you may have heard of before, but right here on the map, when you see more of the cluster downtown, but you can see Tripler Army Medical Center is listed on this map. Right above, you can see that Kuakini Medical Center. You've got Queens Hospital down there. You've also got, Straub. You got Straub down there as well. There's also a Straub in Kapolei. There's also a Queens in Ewa. And then even at the very top of the map, you got Kahuku Medical Center. But as you can see, most of the hospitals are portioned on the southern half or southern part of the island, and then condensed, especially down there in the Honolulu area. I wanted to go ahead and pinpoint some of the more major hospitals. Maybe you're already working under their umbrella, and it may be easier for you to do an internal transfer if you're already with that specific company, right? And you find a position open here inside of that company already, because like, for instance, Kaiser. There is a Kaiser in California, right? And if you can find an internal transfer to a Kaiser in Hawaii, that may make the transition easier for you than starting all over again at a new company. So we're going to pull up the maps, though, and we're going to point out some of the more major hospitals out here. What you see right here is I've actually pinned two Queens Medical Centers, all right? This is Queens Medical Center. And on the right side over there in the Honolulu area is going to be your Queens Medical Center on Punch Bowl. That is going to be in more downtown Honolulu area. And then on the west side over there, you have the Queens Medical Center West Oahu. Now you can see that right here, there's roughly a 25 to 30-ish minute drive depending on the way that you take and depending on the time of the day. There's actually no traffic on this one, so that is not something that is impacting the drive. That's not what we're here to talk about, though. We're talking about where these are. So the Queens Medical Center West Oahu is actually at the front of Ewa Beach. If you're driving west on H1 and you take the Ewa Beach cutoff, when you come up over the ramp and around the hill, you will see Queens West on the right. You will see the Queens Medical Center, or what we just call Queens West. You'll see it on the right as you're coming down off of the off-ramp. Now, as far as downtown Honolulu goes, you can't miss it. The Queens Medical Center is big over there in downtown Honolulu. So are more of a cluster of buildings and things down there. But just to give you a reference of where these two are, let's check out some other ones. Another major hospital out here is Straub. If you haven't heard of Straub before, S-T-R-A-U-B. Straub is out here. There's some medical clinics, and then there's an emergency room and hospital. So we're going to pull up the map and do the same thing, kind of let you orient to where these are. On this map right here where it says Mickey John VMD, that's going to actually be Straub emergency room in town, which is Honolulu downtown. If you don't know, we call Honolulu or Waikiki town in the downtown area. What's interesting is this is actually only a few blocks away from the Queens Medical Center. They're really that close. It's interesting when I was doing clinicals over there, which we'll get into, but yeah, it's interesting how close these two are. There is a Straub Medical Center on the west side in Kapolei. It's not necessarily a hospital. It's more of a medical center and where you can basically be seen by your primary care provider on a regular basis, that type of thing. But it doesn't have the ER and those types of things as a regular hospital would have. So I just wanted to point out to where Straub is on the map. Let's show you one more of the bigger ones, which we talked about earlier, which is Kaiser, and then we'll hop on to the next topic. Kaiser is one of the biggest hospital organizations, again, mainly from California. If you've worked at Kaiser in California and you're looking to transfer over, this may make it easier for you if there's an internal transfer position for you. But let's pull up the map and we'll point out the Kaisers on the island. As you can see right here by this map, I typed in Kaiser Permanente, and there are a lot of them, right? Some of them are just medical centers or medical offices. They're all not necessarily a giant hospital, but there is a Kaiser down in Waikiki, or actually, sorry, not down in Waikiki, excuse me. That is down near Tripler. So Tripler Army Medical Center is going to be the big pink hospital up on the hill. And then Kaiser is really that close to it. That's the big Kaiser Permanente hospital where my son was actually born, over there in Kaiser. So you can see right here on this map though, there's a lot of clinics, a lot of Kaiser Permanente clinics, but the big hospital is close to Tripler Army Medical Center in Honolulu. All right, we pointed out where a lot of the hospitals are and some of the more major hospitals on the island. Now let's talk more about those shifts and those things that you can expect. Just to manage the expectations a little bit, maybe you think you're gonna make a lot more money in Hawaii or less, or maybe not work as many shifts. It really depends. There's a lot of things that really do just depend on the variables. But in general, generally speaking, right, out here in Hawaii, and especially if you're a nurse already in California or places that have higher cost of living, you can expect the same thing here, a higher pay for a higher cost of living. Typically, on average, this does depend, but nurses are starting around $36 an hour, give or take, right, starting. Then all these things play a factor as far as how long you've been a nurse, right, your experience, your certifications, all those types of things really do play a factor. But typically speaking, you can expect to look it up on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, whatever it may be, that you're going to start around $36 an hour as a nurse, give or take, right? And then you're talking about the fields, because there's so many, a lot of people don't realize when you say nurse, that's the umbrella, and then you've got all these other fields, specialties, all this stuff. And I can talk about this because I guess I didn't mention this in the beginning. I do have a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I do not work in the nursing field. I went to school for nursing and I do not do that now. I'm a real estate agent out here on the island of Oahu, helping people such as yourself find their place that best fits their lifestyle and buying a house. So I do not work as a nurse, the full disclaimer there, but I have done clinicals and all these things in these hospitals, or a lot of these hospitals, and got very, very familiar. Let's talk about expectations for some of the other things. A lot of people know nurses to work 312s, right? For us, as in the medical field, 312s, we know that means 3 12-hour shifts a week, right? Sometimes more, sometimes less, but typically depends on the hospital and the floor, especially when I was at Kaiser. When we were on the med-surg floor. Med-surg floor, you're working 8/9s, right? You're working Monday through Friday, 5 shifts, right? You're working 5 shifts and you're working those, the 8-hour shifts, sorry, 8-hour shifts. 5/8, phew, spit that one out. You're working 5/8, right? A lot of times shift change, gonna be at 7 or 7:30, you're doing your shift change, and then you're doing your morning meds and all those types of things, right? So that was really like the daily grind on the med-surg floor when you're working those 5/8s. Then even in Kaiser itself, it's like we went up to the other floor. If you go up to another floor, some of those people are working 4/10s, right? Which to me is pretty cool, right? 4 10-hour shifts, not bad, right? And then other floors, depending on where it is, maybe you're working in the ER. Some of those ER shifts can be 3/12s. So again, and you're a nurse, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know. These are things that you would find out, especially when you do interview process and those types of things. Is it easy to get a job out here as a nurse or in the medical field? Well, I don't do the hiring, so I'm sure a lot of you are very well qualified. I don't do the hiring, right? That's like a stupid question to ask, right? I will tell you though, that a couple things that I can let you in on or tell you about. If you do have more than 2 years of experience, right, and you have some special certifications, you know, if it's that dialysis or OB, whatever the case may be, this could really help you, especially, you know, get a job in whatever the field it is that you're looking for. So the more experience, the easier it may be for you to get a job. This also depends on how many nurses or people they already have in that position and tenure at that hospital, right? And then hospitals are a business. A lot of people don't realize this either. A A lot of people just think medical, insurance, care, right? But they don't realize how much aspects of the hospital or a hospital in general is a business. They have a business to run. They're looking at their costs, their P&L. They're looking at, overtime, all these things, right? So I will say though that the more experience you have and the more dialed in certifications you have, the better shot you have at getting a position here at the hospitals in Hawaii. Now, if you're a new grad, this could be a problem. If you're just got your nursing license or in the medical field, you're new to the medical field or just got your license, right? You passed the NCLEX and you got your license and you think you're gonna come out here in Hawaii as a new grad, you got a tough road ahead of you. I'm not saying it's impossible, but as a new grad here, graduating here, I will tell you that it is harder for new grads to get a job here on island than it is to go back to the mainland and get a job and get the experience on the mainland, like I was just talking about, and then come back here to Hawaii, which happens a lot. So typically what happens after you graduate nursing school, especially here on the island, they have new grad programs. A lot of these hospitals do have new grad programs, but they want you to work in the hospital first. So a lot of them will work as a tech, right, or an aide, and they'll already be licensed. And then after some time, I remember people telling me that they were an aide or a tech for over a year before they were like, all right, we have an opening for you. So you may not want to do that, right? Depending on who you are and how new you are. So a lot of new grads, it's going to be a little bit tougher. They really want 2 years of experience. If you don't get into the new grad program, it can be tough for you. So things to consider if you're thinking about moving here and living in Hawaii as a nurse. When it comes to living in Hawaii as a nurse, and we're talking about the lifestyle that it is that you're seeking, right? You're already looking at the money and the financial side of things. Hopefully you've got that job lined up before you even make that move out here. And then you got the financial side of things lined up and you've got job security, right? And proof of all of that. But when it comes to lifestyle, this really depends on the shifts you're working and those types of things, right? Do you want to be closer to the hospital? We're talking about proximity to work, right? And everything out here is really relative, as far as distance, right? Because you can only go so far on this island. But then a lot of the bigger things come into play as far as parking, right? Drive time, proximity to work. Do you have a family or are you a single individual and you want to live in a condo by the beach while you're not at work and you want to have that beach access? Or do you want to live closer, walking distance to work, those types of things? You don't really want to have a car and that responsibility and those other bills. So it really depends. If you have a family, right, you may not be looking to work deep in the city and you may be looking to work at somewhere like Queens West, out on the west side, where you can live in either Mililani, Kapolei, Ewa, some of the more suburbs of Honolulu. Or, right, like I mentioned, living closer to town. Even if you were to work, let's say that you were to work at like Queens Medical Center in town. You have the options to you can be looking at Kaneohe, Kailua, because you got the Like and the Pali Highway and the H3 that will bring you right down straight into town, right? You can be looking at east side over there in Hawaii Kai. And now there may be a little bit of traffic over there on the highway from the east side to getting into town. And then you could be looking at the west side as well. So there's really a lot of options when it comes to that. Again, the lifestyle is going to depend on your shifts. If you're working 312s and you got one, typically you got a day of like recovery, right? Getting your mind right and your sleep right. Depends how many times you do it or if that's just what you're used to. Do you work the graveyard, right? A lot of things that are just, it's like, I can't pinpoint how life is going to be for you out here, but I can definitely get on that call with you and have that conversation about the hospitals, those types of things. My nurse friends already that are working in these hospitals, what they told me, these things like that. So that's going to hopefully help you find some more information about the lifestyle that you can expect out here in Hawaii. If you're a nurse or in the medical field in general and you're looking to make that move out here to Hawaii, you got to reach out. You can send us a text, you can send me a DM, email, give me a call. You can even schedule your own Zoom with us down in the description below. However you want to get a hold of us, we absolutely love it. We talk to people just like you every day, and we're looking to help even more people that are making that transition, especially our heroes in the medical field moving out here to Hawaii, right? See the information on the screen. You can, again, send that text, send the email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when moving to Hawaii. If you're looking for more information about the lifestyle and the types of things that Hawaii has to offer when we talked about either living in town, right, which is Waikiki, Honolulu, or the suburbs, We got plenty of vlog tours on this channel around the communities. Got a vlog tour of Waikiki. I walked all around Waikiki, right? If you're looking to get the feel for that, or if you're looking to get a feel for some of the suburb communities, we got the vlog tours on this channel of that too, and tons more information. If you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. It helps any of the nurses or people in the medical profession looking to make that move out here to Hawaii be able to find it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so that you get notified anytime that I upload a new video on this channel. All those vlog tours and everything that I just mentioned are going to start popping up for you, so you can click on that screen and go watch it right now.